Hi, and welcome to another reading with me, Leenna. So today we're going to do something for the eclipse season, but even if you find it after the eclipse season, it may be relevant to you. And it's called What Do I Need to Let Go of from the Past? So I've got a little surprise in there as well. I'm using some cards which are my book covers, and I'm going to be relating to relating that pile to some aspect of the book, because I've just been realizing through some coaching that my stories are also a way of me getting out the message that I need to get to people. So what we've got for your choices, we've got 5. Hopefully this won't run too long. These are replica coins from shipwrecks in Western Australia, or from Western Australia, and I got them from the Western Australian Maritime Museum, the WA Maritime Museum in Fremantle, and it's one of my favorite places when I go there, and I thought we'd use them, and because I only have 3 of them, we've also got Rhodonite, and then we've got clear quartz. So you can choose one of these 5 options, and we're going to go and see what do you need to release from your past. So I'm going to start off with the coins and move these away. Okay, let's start off with the one in the middle, just because it's easier for me to get these out the way. Sorry. Okay, so if you chose option number 1, which is, okay, I cannot read what it says, but that looks like a leopard or something, and it looks like Moneta novaros, something. Okay, and this is the pewter replica of a German thaler from Rostock in 1610, from the wreck of the Batavia in 1629, and that's a WA Maritime Museum. You can find out more about the Batavia. It's a very famous shipwreck in that region. It has quite a horrific tale as well, so I suppose it's good that we leave stuff like that behind. So for your story, you've got 3 millions a crowd, which is very interesting, because that is a story that does actually kind of take place in, or part of it, in Western Australia, and does reference the shipwrecks, but not the Batavia. So you've got the engineer or strength, and you've got the 2 of wands, and the Knight of Cups, and you've got innovation. So in the story, I'm going to go with Guy's story, with Monroe's story. So Monroe had this idea to build this green village, which didn't really work out because his family ran into financial difficulties, and it's an idea that he still wanted to put a lot of effort into. But part of the reason he couldn't follow through with it at that time was because of his love situation and the opportunities that, just wasn't there. So I think it's time for you to let go of an idea. It was an innovative idea for that time. You do still have a lot of passion for it. So the reason that you started that project is probably still valid and something that you shouldn't let go of. But the way that you're trying to achieve that goal is now irrelevant. You need to find another way, or perhaps someone has already done the idea and perhaps even done it better than you could have, and it just wasn't your path. It was possible for a while, but it's gone now. That potential has left. So you need to move on. So in the story, Monroe comes up with quite a sort of a harebrained idea to get out of that situation, and he does eventually recover from it, but he also realizes that what was most important to him was love and relationships, and that he had to compromise for it in a way that was very distasteful to him. It's not going to be easy for you. You are still innovative. You still are that person who can achieve a lot. You still have a lot of passion and strength and ideas to share with the world, but your opportunity lies elsewhere. You're going to get another offer soon, and this offer is going to be quite different to your normal way of looking at things. It is one that you've been searching for, but it's coming in a package that looks very different, and that a lot of people may judge you for as well. But if you feel really, really drawn to doing it, and you feel that it will allow you to make right anything in the past that following this path led you to, then it's time for you to do that. So it's not saying run out on responsibility. It's saying you need to close a chapter that is no longer relevant to you or the world or the environment that you're in, and you need to move on. So like I said, for Monroe, it was a financial situation. It was following a financial dream and then finding that there were all these other things that were not going to make it possible. And one of the things that was not mentioned in the book, but which was at the back of my mind, was the reason it didn't work was because of the economic situation that followed. So it could be that you had a business idea and either it's not working or it's not going to work because either technology has changed, the economy has changed, or people's needs have changed. And that you do still have lots of great ideas. The basis of your idea, the basis of your project, the basis of your passion and your solution is still there, but it will take a different form. And now it's time for you to explore these new forms, explore new technology, explore new offers and collaborations, especially during the next 2 weeks to the end of August. And that's when you're going to find that you're going to get something new and something exciting, and that is aligned with your purpose in first getting involved in this project. So I hope that made sense to you. So it's basically saying there is a new path. You need to leave your old path behind because it's not you. It's no longer relevant. Everything has changed, and you need to allow and take into account that change, because what is coming to you is even better. So that was from 3 Millions a Crowd. So I'm going to leave this aside if you chose option number 1, which was the one with, I think, the leopard, and it's from the Batavia, and it's a German thaler. So I think I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. So let's go on to the second choice, and this is also one of the pewter coins or replica coins, and I have no idea what this one says. Contol. I have no idea. Okay, so just as well I'm not an archaeologist. So it says the pewter replica, a rake or rick 8 Dalder 1611. So this might be a Dutch coin, or what was it called, a Dutch East India coin, from the wreck of the Batavia as well, which was in 1628. I thought the other one said, was it 29? 1629. 1620 something anyway. And it's from the WA Maritime Museum. So this is your Rijksdalder, your Dutch or Dutch East India Company coin, and it's got some dude on it. Okay, so we'll leave that there. And let's see what your story is. So you got settled down now, which is very similar in a way to 3 Millions a Crowd. We've got the 5 of Submersibles. We've got Justice Reverse, very interesting. And then we've got the Devil reversed as well. And we've got Quarrel. So the first character that's coming to mind is Rob. Rob is one of the protagonists in Settle Down Now and in Unsettled. And this is something that's very important to Rob is justice, but the way he goes about it isn't always in the best way or in the most productive way. He finds it very easy to quarrel with people, to argue with them instead of actually tell them the way he feels about them. And I think that, you know, it's one of the reasons he's like that is because his backstory is something that I'm still exploring, but in his past, when he was younger, he suffered a great injustice, and that determined much of his earlier path in life and his the way he relates to people. So he did a lot of things he regretted, and he did it because of trying to find some kind of justice or almost like a sense of revenge. And it always created this conflict within him. So I think it's time for you to let go this either resentment or sadness, sorrow for things that you might have done in the past, for people you might have hurt in the past, for losing your temper in the past, and for actually selling yourself short in a way without realizing that you did. So you need to work on releasing unforgiveness, both for yourself and the people around you. You know, let that be in the past. Perhaps you've never been able to settle down. Maybe you've never felt at ease with yourself or your life or your environment because of this underlying sorrow. Maybe you couldn't help someone when you really felt you should have, or maybe you tried to help someone and it didn't work out. Maybe you tried to help yourself and it also you know, it feels like whatever path you took, you just never found that justice. But it's something that you kept tying yourself to, that sort of toxicity, and now it's time to let it go and not allow it to have power over you. I think you should allow affection into your life instead of unforgiveness, instead of this constant internal conflict between your two sides. And that you should, you know, like Settle Down Now is mostly on a large part of it is on Rob's yacht, the Sunflower, and that's where he finds his peace. That's where he finds his purpose and also his future. So, and he only managed to do that by letting go this need for revenge or this need to constantly try to find justice. It's not that he gave up on finding justice, it's that he didn't allow it to control his life. He didn't allow it to dictate who he was going to be or what he was going to feel in life or how he was going to live in his life. And even though he probably didn't earn as much, he was much happier on the Sunflower. He had his freedom. And I think that is probably what you need at this time, is to feel free of your past and to allow your past to sort of drift away from you and to not allow it to drag you down in the future. So I hope that made sense to you. You probably want to do a lot of work on self-forgiveness and allowing the universe to recognize or to send justice to where you need it to. You know, I don't know what your situation is and what you need the sense of justice for, but you need to end this internal conflict. You need to stop it from tearing you up inside. And the character that I think you most identify with at the moment is with Rob from Settle Down Now. And I think you should actually settle down now. You know, you should, if you've been moving around a lot, maybe you should find a place that you can call home, whether it's a yacht or a ship, or whether it's a small place somewhere. You just need to stop running away from yourself. So I hope that made sense for you, and that was if you chose this coin here, which is the Dutch Dalder from 1611. Okay, so let's go on to option number 3. And this is if you chose the... I'm not even... Oh, I can actually read this one. Hispania RVM. Something else. Okay, and this is the pewter replica of a Spanish piece of 8. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean, always went on about it, right? And it was from Segovia in 1618, from the wreck of the Gilt Dragon in 1656, and that's the WA Maritime Museum. And this is actually my special one because this is my favorite wreck in that region, the Gedulde. Oh, I can't even pronounce Afrikaans words anymore. But the Gilded Dragon, or the Gedulde, I can't speak today. The Draak, anyway. It's the one with the Draak. And this is also a Dutch coin. Oh, sorry, not a Dutch coin. It's a Dutch ship. And it's a Spanish piece of 8. So let's look at your story. And you've got foreigners. I'm going to look at the other cards because this is actually 2 stories. They're 2 short stories, and you can download them for free. But let's see which character you are supposed to identify with. So you've got the Knight of Swords, the 5 of Pentacles, the 6 of Leviathans, and Birth. So I'm going to go with, I wrote this a while ago, so I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was, I cannot remember his name. Something like Navashan or Travashan. Something with an Ashan. And basically he's someone who was away from home. It's actually set in my hometown, inspired by my school motto, which is Strive. He's been away from home for so long, almost 20 years, and he comes back home. And because he left home without really telling anyone, he's not sure what his reception's going to be, and he's not sure where he belongs. So there's a lot of emotion in this one. So I think you have a lot of emotion to work through. And he's also sort of working on something, but the main focus of the story is that he went away and he proved himself to himself. He was very successful in what he did, and what he does is something that's going to change the world. But that's all a side story to the main story of reconnecting to his identity. So this is very emotional for some of you. I'm just picking up a lot of emotion. I just need to ground myself again. And he always feels like a foreigner because he doesn't feel connected to his past, and he doesn't know where he's going in the future. So this is like the Five of Coins, the isolation, the I have what I need, but it's not enough because I don't have any anchor points. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. And the Knight of Swords can be someone who's always running away or running towards something, but they're not allowing themselves to feel or to cope with their feelings. And that can, like I said, perhaps it's built up. And I think what you're fearing is that your feelings or your energy or your gift won't be reciprocated. But I think that you are feeling optimistic about it, and it's important for you to keep doing what you're doing, but you can't do it in isolation. So you need to let go of the sense of isolation, the sense of not allowing yourself to connect to people, either because you think that you're not good enough, or that they'll judge you, or that they don't get what you're doing, or that they won't support you. So you gotta let go being an island, you gotta allow people to get close to you. You gotta reconnect with your roots. And for some of you, you may want to return home. You may want to reconnect with people from your past. Maybe you just don't know how to. I mean, how do you even start? And I think it's something you need to follow your heart in. I think you have to sort of be realistic as well. People change. You've changed. People will have changed. But it doesn't mean that there's no common ground. So this one is very, very emotional. I think what you need to leave in the past are all the repressed emotions, because it's just building and building and building. And you need to let it go. You need to allow yourself to travel into the future with a more optimistic mindset. I'm going to pick one more card for you. Let's take the Steampunk Tarot. And you've got the Two of Airships. So here this is about decision and indecision, but in this card you can see that they're actually meeting each other halfway, and they're shaking hands. So I think that you have to just trust that people will meet you halfway, or that they will find a bridge. And I think that is what you need to realize, that there are bridges that have been burnt, but it doesn't mean that temporary or new ones can't be found. Because I mean, it's not even a bridge, it's two gangways. I don't know if are you going to focus? It's two gangways that are meeting, allowing these two to meet. It's temporary, but it's getting the message there, it's getting the intention out, and it's getting the communication going. And I think that's what you need to do. So leave this being isolated and having to always be on yourself and be on your own mission, and allow yourself to connect to people in the future. And I love that you got Birth here, because this is such a beautiful card. I have no idea what these mean, but I think it's showing that, especially now in the time of Cancer, that you can reimagine yourself, reimagine your future, and you can birth new new connections. So yeah, I still cannot remember his name. Trishan, his name was Trish. Probably something like Trishendran, or his name was Trish. So actually, if I'm wrong, let me know. So the story is Foreigners. It's called Strive. I think it's the second story in Foreigners. And yeah, let me know what you think of this. I hope it was helpful, whether or not you sort of identified with it. Oh, I've got 2 more to do, and this is getting long. So let's leave this extremely emotional one behind, and this is from the can I say Gedulde Draak? Yay, I said it. Or the Gilded Dragon, and it's a piece of 8, a replica of it from the Western Australian Maritime Museum. Okay. So, I need to blow my nose. Very emotional. So let's go on to the Rhodonite. Let's hope it is less emotional. And let's see what you've got. So you've got the Bagua. And let's see which character in that short story. It's a short story collection, but I'm going to use the main story. So you've got the Empress, the 6 of Cups, the 6 of Airships, or the 6 of Wands, and Exaltation. So what do you need to leave behind? So I think you need to leave behind... I actually had a little bit of a peek of these 2 cards when they fell out, and the thing that came to me immediately was your lifestyle. So in the story, there's a couple of things going on. It's set in China, and the 2 characters are not Chinese. They're English. Well, the one's an English teacher, but they're both searching for something in this new place, and they do kind of find it, but not in a way that is expected. And the thing is that this lifestyle of searching, of being there, was not natural for both of them. It was fine for that time, but at the end of that seeking, that lifestyle would change, and there's travel there, and there's also hope. So I think perhaps it was such an inspired meeting, or such an inspired time, but it's changed. That lifestyle of you living in that place, of you being in that lifestyle, of you following that kind of path, is now changing. It's ending, and you've left with a lot of nostalgia of a really good time, or of a really amazing person, but it's not sustainable. It's not going to be able to work in the mundane life. It was awesome for that time. It gave you what you needed. It taught you something wonderful, and there is hope for the future, but the future's not going to look the way your past looked. So for me, it's saying you need to change. You need to let some kind of lifestyle go, or lifestyle decision go. And for both of these characters, like I said, they were both seeking, and what they were seeking lay in the Bagua. But you can't spend your whole life looking for Baguas, because you're gonna at some point go through all of them, and while some of them may give you and show you what you need, others it gives you that for that time. And you should take the lesson that you learned from it, take that feeling that you got from it, take that inspiration that you got from it, and bring it into a more sustainable lifestyle. And I think that will bring you the Empress. That will bring you your love and abundance, and that sort of spiritual growth that you're looking for. Because very similar to one of the others, what you did was right for the time, but now that time is past, and you need to move on, and that will allow you to find that feeling elsewhere or within yourself, and that will be more sustainable, and again that will bring you more abundance. So it's time to stop looking and searching all the time. It's time to change your lifestyle, and you need to leave, you know, that in the past. Because what you need, I feel, is already within you. You already got what you needed, and now you can move on. So that was the Bagua, and that was for the Rhodonite. Okay, so let's go on to our last one, and that is our quartz, our Bubbly Quartz. And let's see what story you've got. So you've got No Distance to Run, which is my first novel. And let's see which character we're talking about. So we've got the the Page of Swords and the Five of Cups on the reverse. We've got the Horologer or the Hierophant. And we've got Assertion. This one is a little bit confusing to me. So I'm going to go with Sammy. Sammy is the main protagonist over here. And for the longest time, she is kind of passively waiting for love, waiting to meet her love. That's how the story starts. And then she finds a different strength within herself, and she finds that what she was looking for has always been in front of her, but she never really saw it because she had this very traditional idea about what love should look like and what it should, of how she should find it. And she was like passively waiting for it. And that brought her a lot of sorrow because she didn't realize for the longest time what love would actually look like. But I think it goes beyond love. I think this goes to your life as well. I think, you know, she was in a low-paying job. She could hardly afford to travel when she needed to, when she was running away. She only just managed to scrape that money together. And she had to go through a lot of violence in the process, and she didn't realize her own strength. So I think what it's asking you to leave behind is a kind of passivity in your life, of waiting for something to happen, of waiting for someone to come into your life, of waiting for someone to be your hero or to be your soulmate, to the cost of you not living your life to the fullest, to the cost of you not seeing what is actually in front of you. And it's not that she's not a strong character, it's just that she has these beliefs that hold her back, that stop her from seeing what's right in front of her. And some of it is it's got to do with self-esteem. A lot of it has to do with what she's been brought up, or what she has come to believe is her truth. And then as the story goes on, she realizes that it's not. She also has to be a lot more aggressive in order to stay alive, in order to survive what goes on. And she also has to kind of make very strong boundaries when she meets a guy who is very controlling and domineering, and who is very traditional, and who should have been the kind of guy that would have been perfect for her. But all those misconceptions actually bring her a lot of sorrow and a lot of grief, and kind of set her back in love, although everyone has to go through their own path and lessons. And had she been in a relationship earlier, it would have looked very, very different. And it's also asking her, in the story to accept her own gifts, her own intelligence, and her own strength, which was something probably she could not see, or she would not allow herself to express because she believed she was a certain kind of person and she could not act in other ways or do certain things that other people could. So that is what I have for you if you chose the quartz, the bubbly quartz, and your story was No Distance to Run, and that's Sammy, the main protagonist, where what you have to leave behind is your own self-limiting beliefs about yourself, or the truths that you've been telling yourself that aren't real truths. So I hope that made sense to you, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit longer than I thought it would be, but I hope you got something really, really good from it. And next time we'll do something a bit more fun, hopefully. And you take care, have fun, and keep those vibes high. Bye.